All right, what is up, everyone? That song you just heard was A Man Called Sting, the WCW theme for the legend, the icon, the myth, Sting, who I was for Halloween. So welcome in, everyone. This is the Irish Power Hour. I am ND Sean 45, joined by Ryan, Week Zero Productions, Fravel. You guys see the link scrolling down at the bottom of the screen. That is the link to their channel at Week Zero Productions. Make sure you go check it out. And Ryan, as we promoted in our Halloween special, you guys had a special guest on today, didn't you?
Yep, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish running back Cam McDaniel, former walk-on running back who stole the show in 2013 and then again in 2014. Stole the hearts of every girl on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish campus and beyond. Like I said, dude was by far the best guest we've had on the show so far. He matched our energy. Just an all-out nice dude to talk to and really fun. He doesn't kind of have that. I'm a former Notre Dame player and I'm played D1. I'm a CFL Grey Cup championship winning player. I'm better than everybody else. He as down to earth as you could be, just like me, Sean, Ben, and other guys we've had on the show. Just an all-around great guy. And like I said, we got to talk to him about his best moments at Notre Dame and what it was like with him going through that moment, where his helmet came off and he scored a touchdown against USC. So it was an all-around great interview. We got to talk to him for about a good hour and a half. And like I said, you guys definitely need to check it out. So whenever me and Sean are done here, go ahead and run it back and watch it on the Week Zero Productions channel. It should be posted right now. And listen to how great of an interview that was.
Well, you're probably going to be tired when this is through, when our hour's up, because you came here right from doing.
Yeah. We had a long show, man. A long show.
Well, one thing I got to ask you. We were talking before we went live here, and I understand that you threw one of your friends and co-hosts under the bus.
So yeah, my boy Connor over at you can go look at his channel. It's Punt Intended. He's our host for the Week Zero podcast. He's our boy's Connor. He's been doing the single life, and we've been rooting for him for the last year or so. And he got himself a date. And he was telling us about it during the show. He's like, guys, we got to kind of hurry this up. I got a date soon. And we're like, oh, you got a date. So then as the show went on, we got into the Pick'em segment. And we had the Oklahoma game come up. And Lucas is our other co-host on the show. And so we're like, oh, Lucas, who you taking, Baylor or Oklahoma? He's like, oh, I'm going to take the Sooners. You know why? Because Connor's going to be Boomer in that Sooner tonight. And Connor was like, oh no, she's probably going to call off the date now. And she commented, we didn't realize she was watching the show. She comments down below and goes, no, I'm not calling it off. And then the next pick'em was the Marshall game. And so it was my turn, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and take Marshall. You know why? Because Connor's going to be thundering that herd. And then she proceeds to comment in the comments and say, "Oh, really? Connor, are you really going to thunder my herd tonight?" So it was a pretty funny show. And then we had the USC game come up, and Lucas made the comment, "Well, Connor better hope the Trojan doesn't bust like USC is going to this
Oh, you
week."
didn't tell me that one.
So, so yeah, and then we had
Wow.
we had the girl that he's going on the date with. Her best friend came on, like, was in the comments too, and she said, "Hey, I'm watching you guys too. You guys better chill." And she was like, "No joke." And I guess she texted Connor right as we were getting ready to end the show, and she said, "No, you guys are completely fine. Your friends sound like a lot of fun." She said, "I was on FaceTime with my best friend listening to your guys' podcast when you guys were saying all that stuff, and we both started laughing." So we didn't ruin the date. And then I guess she told Connor that she's booking a hotel room for tonight. So
Oh, use your imaginations on that one, people.
I don't want to say me and Lucas are, Dr. Love, but
They call me Dr. Love. Call me Dr. Love.
yep.
But no, it figures. There's always that one friend of your girlfriend that wants to get all uptight and pissy about it. Can't take a joke.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's cool that she actually didn't get offended by it or anything. She thought it was funny and she was playing along with
No,
it.
I know. I'm just,
Yeah, it is annoying when girls get like that, but it was pretty cool. She was matching our vibe, so but yeah, like I
yeah.
said, guys in the comments that are just now tuning in, we had Cam McDaniel on the Week Zero podcast over at the Week Zero Productions YouTube channel. Go check it out. Definitely is something that you guys cannot miss. If you're a true Notre Dame fan, you're gonna absolutely love it. So,
Oh yeah, and I got to ask you this. So, with this being the first former player you guys interviewed, were you guys nervous at all?
um, it's kind of weird because you would think so, but he didn't come off as a guy that you really felt like you needed to be nervous around, if that makes sense. He's kind of one of those guys where, like, you just sit and talk to him and it's like you don't know him and you haven't really talked to him outside of like Twitter messages. But the minute he got on and he was like, the first thing he asked was like, "Hey, how are you guys doing? It's a pleasure to come on. I'd like to meet you guys before we go live if we can." We talked to him for a good 10 minutes and he just sounded like, guy is like a weird, like there's some people like you could talk to them off the street and you don't have no idea who they are and you
Yeah.
just click and it's just like that and they just seem like you just instantly have that like chemistry that you guys could be like the best of friends. That's exactly how it was with him, and it
Awesome.
was weird. You'd think we would have been, but he made us feel so comfortable.
Well, all I know is I can't speak for Ben, but when we had Irv Smith was the first ever former player we had on, and then we
Mm-hmm.
had Reggie Brooks, and then I think Clint Johnson, who's maybe not the biggest name, but he was on the Notre Dame football team in '93, and yeah, to me it's kind of somewhat nerve wracking because these are guys that you used to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I was only like 6, 7 years old when these guys were playing, but it's kind of weird. Like they're superheroes when you watch them on TV, but you do forget they're just regular guys like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just my experience with it. So seeing all the comments here, we'll get to them shortly, but we want to talk a little bit about this week's matchup, and that matchup has arrived. And like Ben and I said in our Halloween spectacular extravaganza on Halloween night on Monday, this is a heavyweight matchup, baby. As
Mm-hmm.
I said, as Sting, and I hope you guys like the costume. I thought it turned out pretty well for what I had to work with, and Ben is Jack Skellington. Um, this is a yet another opportunity, and yet at the same time a big test for us too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those games that could be a career defining moment for Marcus Freeman and the Freeman era as a whole. We were talking about it with Cam on the show today because he had to hop off earlier than he wanted to because he's got a wife and kids and everything. But we were talking to him about the game, and me and him were kind of on the same page. It took Brian Kelly uh, till 2020 in his career to get a win against a top 4 team. Think about that. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
If Marcus Freeman gets a win against the number 4 ranked team in the country who is undefeated and right now would be in the college football playoff if everything stood pat, people don't understand how huge of a win that could be. Not only for Marcus Freeman and the Freeman era as a whole, but for Notre Dame as a whole. Going forward, changing that narrative that Notre Dame doesn't show up in big games against top 4 opponents.
Well, and there's actually a comment here from Sean K 2007, but we'll get to that in a second. But go ahead, man. Keep going.
But no, this game, and I said it on the show as well, I think this game comes down to 2 things. The first thing is what DJ Uiagalelei shows up for this game. Is it the DJ that threw for 6 touchdown passes against Wake Forest? Or is it the DJ that threw 2 picks against Syracuse and got benched for a true freshman? The other side of it is what Notre Dame team shows up. Is it the Notre Dame team that struggled against Marshall and Stanford offensively and looked like one of the worst teams in college football? Or is it the Notre Dame team that went out there and had a lead against the number 2 team in the country in Ohio State on the road for 3 quarters? Or the team that blew out the 17th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels at their house? Or the team that beat Syracuse at their house? And those are the 2 things that this game comes down to. Because both teams have been inconsistent at times this year. So it just really, who shows up?
Yeah. Yeah, and this team has been a case of, and this is very fitting for it being Halloween week, but it's been a very Jekyll and Hyde team. As we've said week in and week out, this team has been very good at times, but also very bad at times. And with the bad times, I don't understand it because they were against crappy teams in Stanford and Marshall. And it's like, how do you let that happen? How do you play like that against teams that you should destroy? I don't get that. I mean, it's like, I know that Drew Pine is not an elite quarterback. I know he's not the tallest quarterback. We all know that. But he's played very well at times too, and you can't ignore that. Now, Syracuse, his numbers didn't look all that great, but that's where Ben and I came in, and Sting and Jack Skellington came in and said, you almost didn't need to pass a whole lot because the running game was on fire. And so yeah, it's been hard to understand, but I got to bring up this question because I was talking with a few people on Twitter last night about this. Actually, and I should say arguing with a couple about this as well, but Sean K brings up a very good point that I had planned on talking about. He goes, will Notre Dame finally have a home game where it actually feels like home field advantage? And that's a good question. That's something that, and I'm going to start going on a rant. I've talked about this a million times already, but as I've also said a million times as well, I'm not going to stop talking about it
until it changes.
Yeah, until this changes. And what I liked last night was seeing that there's other people that are finally getting this and seeing that it's a problem. But the main question is this: what is that stadium going to look like on Saturday night? Is it going to be a Notre Dame crowd that's supporting their team and getting rowdy, or a stadium that's half orange and purple?
Well, from my understanding, I know the game is officially sold out. So I know that for a fact. That Notre Dame football page posted that, I think, today.
I saw that too.
So that's a good sign. I would say that's a good sign because I know usually in college football they reserve a certain, I feel like 20% or 30% of the tickets for the home team. So I think that's a good sign. I honestly don't know because we played Clemson at home in 2020, but there was really not really anybody
You
there
can't
because of
you can't
COVID.
yeah, you
You
can't
can't
count
count
that one.
that. So you don't really know. I don't really know how Clemson fans are when it comes to like traveling because South Carolina is pretty. It's a pretty decent drive from, or even flight from South Bend to Death Valley. But there's something that's telling me that this is going to be a 80 to 85% Notre Dame crowd.
I
I
hope so.
I just think that Marcus Freeman, and this is another thing that like Cam kind of talked about. He said because I talked to him about Brian Kelly, and we mentioned the home field advantage thing. He said the thing with Brian Kelly was that he didn't promote a family atmosphere when it came to coming to games and anything. It was his stuff wasn't like, oh, I don't care about the relationship I have with the fans. I don't care about my relationships with the players. It was a business. And Cam said that when he was at Notre Dame with Tommy and all them and Everett, that they were told that this isn't a place for, buddy. This is an industry. And that's how Brian Kelly ran things. And Cam said that he didn't really necessarily respond well to that. Um, but that he likes how Marcus Freeman, everything about him is the community, what it means to be Notre Dame, what it means to be Irish. I'm not going to be your best friend, but this is about being a family and winning as a family, not just winning it because it's a business. Um, I just have a weird feeling that this game is going to be 85% Irish, which
I
I
hope
think because
so.
Clemson fans are also pretty good at traveling in general. So but I think it'll be a lot better. I don't think it'll be like Georgia or even Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati wasn't as bad, but there was still a lot of red when
No,
Cincinnati played Notre
there's
Dame.
just there's too much. There's been too much of the other color in our stadiums for these big games that come to town. And the funny thing is, last night, some of these people that I was talking to, well, it was really only just one. They didn't seem to care. They don't seem to care that happens. And I'll never understand that. It's like one dude was like, "Oh, well, it was only what's the word I'm looking for? It's only happened twice in 23 years because I was talking
No,
about
there was the Nebraska thing, the Georgia
yeah,
game. I know we had talked about it, and you said it didn't look too bad. I just remember when we played Cincinnati last year, I seen way too much red. Now it wasn't Georgia level red, but when I like looked at pictures of the game afterwards from like us scoring and Cincinnati scoring, because I'd use those for the thumbnails, there seemed to be a lot of red in there mixed with green, and I didn't like that because it's a smaller school. I can understand there being like, I don't know, like you got a pie, okay, like you got a pie, and there's probably this much of a pie that's like Georgia fans or Clemson fans, but when you're playing like a Cincinnati, it's like there's no excuse for that.
well, hold on a sec. Golden Playbook, they're not giving their tickets away. They're straight up selling them. And that's the thing. Obviously the two ones that stick out, Nebraska and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half that stadium's freaking red. And the other time in 2017, red and black for Georgia's colors. But it's like people are making excuses for that, and they're like, well, they're offering this much and that much, and blah 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 blah.
Sell them to Notre Dame fans.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be Notre Dame fans that are willing to pay double the price to go to a game. I I know that they probably not a lot of people are gonna want to, but if somebody wants to go see Notre Dame Clemson that bad,
The
they
one
will.
guy, the one guy that I was actually arguing with, he told me that he blames the athletic director Jack Swarbrick for this. I'm like, okay, tell me this: how is it Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director's fault that people are selling their tickets?
Let
And
me
he,
ask
and
you
he
this,
says,
Sean. Let
yeah,
me ask you this. Number one Tennessee is playing on the road at number three Georgia this weekend. It's sold out. Let me ask you this. How much do you think those tickets are for Georgia fans right now? Just for the
oh,
nosebleed seats. You want
I
to
would
take a
say,
guess?
yeah, I'll take a guess, 4,000.
The cheapest ticket is about 5 grand to
Okay,
get into
sounds
that game.
close.
Yeah. And people are complaining about Notre Dame tickets being $200, $300.
Well, and also I think people forget too that Notre Dame tickets are now on like a tier level, and there's like prime, medium, and small, almost like you're ordering off a fast food menu. But the top tier games are going to cost more, so you can't blame the athletic director for people selling their tickets. I mean, let's just tell the truth. The people that sell their tickets to these big games that come to town, they care more about money than they do the team. They're just freaking greedy.
You know what
And
I don't understand? Like when we played Georgia at Georgia in between the hedges, right? It seemed like there was quite a few Notre Dame fans. So I don't understand why we don't have an issue traveling. I mean, when we went to Vegas, I know it was supposed to be like a Notre Dame home game, but there was still more Notre Dame fans than BYU fans.
well, here's the thing. The stadium, they always allot like 5,000 tickets to the away team.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody else in that stadium, obviously you have to buy them from scalpers.
Uh,
And but the fact is this though. At that 2019 rematch in Athens, you only saw Notre Dame fans in that stadium where they were supposed to be, and that was in the away section.
yep.
And I'm sure there were plenty of Notre Dame fans there, trying to buy tickets.
Oh
But
yeah.
but Georgia fans weren't selling them. But what's our excuse? We have none.
You think
See,
Uncle Lou was over there selling tickets to Notre Dame fans?
I don't think anybody was. No.
Uh,
And it's funny that we're talking about that game. Sean K. 2007 says, "I never thought I'd say this, but we need to be more like Georgia. Actually, we need to be a lot more like all these other teams, not just them. I mean, our stadium, and I'm seeing it in the comments here. People are beating me to the punch already. But this fan base, and I hate to talk generally about the entire fan base because not everybody in the fan base is like this, but nobody is afraid to come to South Bend anymore. Our crowd has become pretty much a down in front cheese and wine crowd,
mm-hmm.
and that's not the idea of going to a football game. This is a football game, not a golf tournament. You are supposed to stand up and make noise. But people think it's like a country club atmosphere, and that's not the case. But this fan base is turning it into one. But the fact that we sell our tickets to big games when they come to town just to make money off of them, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but I have people in my family who are like that. They buy season tickets just to sell them and make a profit off them, and plus they're also compulsive gamblers, so they care more about the spread than they do the team. It's like, just be a fan. I mean, what is it out of style to be a fan and love your team?
I just don't understand it. I don't
either.
But you know what I was gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. So going to the point, kind of like what he said, be like Georgia. I kind of want to ask everybody in the comments who's watching, just right now, do you guys still have faith in Marcus Freeman or not? Or do you guys have still faith in this coaching staff as a whole? I don't really want, I don't care if it's, you want to say, oh, not Tommy Reese, that's fine. But I'm talking about the Freeman era as a whole. Do you guys still have faith? For the people that say no, there's one guy that I feel like would know something about Little Notre Dame football. Going back to my interview with Cam McDaniel earlier today, he posted something on Twitter, and then he kind of mentioned it in our show today. Look at Tennessee, for example. 2 years ago, Tennessee had just fired their head coach after 3-7. After he started the year 3-7, right?
Yep.
They lost 30 scholarship athletes, all to the transfer portal that bolted because a new coach came in. Okay. They hire Josh Heupel over from UCF. They get a transfer from Hendon Hooker. Mind you, Hendon Hooker was a backup for the first couple games at Tennessee. Tennessee's record last year, 7-6. Guess what they are this year? Undefeated. #1 team in the country, beat Bama.
And a shout out to Big Vol Daddy for
Yep,
that.
shout out to Big Vol Daddy as well. Cam McDaniel said this: Notre Dame is going to be like Tennessee, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. He said, I think a lot of people thought that Marcus Freeman was going to come in here and take a team that won 11-1 last year to the promised land. We were going to win a national title or be in the CFP year one. He said, while this team has the capabilities to do that, you got to understand that these are not Marcus Freeman's kids. These are kids that have been in the program 2, 3, 4 years that were used to the way Brian Kelly ran things, which was not very personable. He didn't care to have a relationship with you. He didn't care to listen to you. You know? They're in a transition phase. Cam McDaniel said it was kind of like what it was for him when they went from the 2012 season to the 2013 season. He said it was kind of a lot of that. They had a lot of high expectations that year coming off of a national championship. He said that team felt the pressure and it got to them because they had everybody say, oh, you got all these expectations, and it got to them. He said, I think that's what's going on right now is you're got 18 to 22-year-old kids who are used to the Brian Kelly way of coaching, who are in a transition phase, also having all this outside noise about how they're supposed to be a playoff team, this, and that. And you see it come out in the Marshall game, the Stanford game. And he said what that causes sometimes when you're in a transition phase like that, it causes a lot of questioning between the players in the locker room. Kind of like how our fans did. I have family members that, are around the university, and they've said to them, it seems like the players start questioning, well, is Freeman really, is he the guy? Is Reese's play calling? Do I really want to believe in it? Is it really going to get the job done? Is it putting me in the best position? Cam even said that he's heard. He didn't say from who. But in the games against Marshall and Stanford, there were a lot of guys, he didn't say names, that were more worried about their playing time and because they were losing these games than focusing on winning. And I think it's a mixture of everything that's kind of culminated into why Notre Dame is 5-3 right now. So just take that with a grain of salt. I think this team next year, 11-1 college football playoff team. Cam McDaniel agreed. This team has the talent. You just got to give this time, Marcus Freeman some time to implement his philosophy and his goals and to get these kids to buy into it. I know I went a little long there, but I just wanted to let the fans know that, calm down. Just calm down. We're 5-3. Guess what? Those fans, Sean, you remember those fans that were talking trash about Freeman just a few weeks ago after the Stanford loss?
Yeah.
You remember those guys, right? What do you think those same people are going to say if Notre Dame beats Clemson this week?
Oh, I know they're going to say it was a fluke. Clemson was off. That's what I expect.
Oh, yeah. Or they're going to try to act like they were here being the, real fan from the beginning. Oh, Freeman's the guy. And I can't tell you how many people that are Notre Dame fans I've got arguments with on Twitter that after the Marshall loss saying fire Freeman, and then want to say that, oh, I've been with Freeman since the start after we beat North Carolina. And then I have to go screenshot their tweets and show them, really?
Yeah, people like that. There are so many people that are just so full of shit. It's unbelievable. Now, myself, I made a anger rant video, but I never said I was going to stop being a fan.
Or you never said fire Freeman or anything like that.
No. But I have it's one thing to be angry, which I was, but to say that you're just quitting on the team, that's a whole different ball game. So I'm just waiting. Nobody's done it yet, but I'm waiting for that one person to come out and call me a hypocrite. But it's just it's been absurd with this fan base with this year. A full season's not even over yet, and they're saying fire Freeman, fire Freeman, fire Freeman, and it's just, I'm sorry to say it, but with that bad element that's in our fan base, it's making the Notre Dame fan base look like a joke. And
I don't think those people should be able, like, if we're really good next year, say we don't even have to win a natty. Just say we make the playoff and say we get a playoff win and make the national title, right?
right,
It just bugs me and it irritates the fuck out of me when those same people who are talking or who are completely trashing this team and Freeman and wanting him fired after 2 games are those same people that are going to try to celebrate that with us or try to say that, oh, I'm so glad Notre Dame is the number 2 team in the country or whatever the hell they want to say. Like, I just don't think that you should be able to enjoy that.
no,
Just,
and
you
you know
really
what?
shouldn't.
And you know what? Justin Fields, when he was at Ohio State, and this was during the COVID year, when they ended up making the playoffs, he said to all the fans that were trashing them, "None of this is for you. We're not playing this game for any of you guys, so you all can piss off." He worded it differently, but he essentially told all of them to piss off who didn't stick with him all the way. But no, it's just that those are the problems that I see with this fan base, and I just don't get it. Selling our tickets to big games and, being a cheese and wine crowd in that stadium. I mean, even before, you would think that all the stadium renovations and whatnot would allow for that. No, so many of our fans are sitting on their hands.
Look at Sean. Look at Georgia, for instance. They were
The best
talking about it
example to go
during.
off of.
They were talking about Kirby Smart's his record through 7 games, his first year at Georgia, 4-3, same as Marcus Freeman's was. Guess how many years it took him to win a natty?
I forget exactly when his first year was, but I want to say like 5 years.
Yeah, and guess what? His team got better and better and better as he started to get his guys in his philosophy. Now Georgia's a top 3 team every year now. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to give them time. And, I remember Georgia fans were dogging all over Kirby Smart that year that they went to the Sugar Bowl and got beat by Texas, and fans wanted Kirby Smart fired. It's like, and that guy won you a natty. Do you see the same thing with Stetson Bennett? Georgia fans were pooping all over. They're still crapping on him. It's
Well,
like
there really needs to be an IQ test to be a fan. Honestly, people are just so many people that are so damn stupid. And what it is I've said this many times before too. They live vicariously through these players and the coaches, and they act like a bunch of know-it-alls, and they're really not. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not a know-it-all, and I probably couldn't coach a peewee team, let alone a college or
these
a pro
people
team.
that are saying fire Freeman are the same people that probably think, oh, because they can win a game in Madden, that they know football. That is literally the same. Those are the types of people that say that.
Yeah, I agree. But it's just like the things that I still hear, and I don't even know where to go back to. I could go back to a bunch of things from this conversation to this point, but stuff that I never thought I would see with this fan base actually happening. I don't know. It's like,
did you see the fans bitching about beating Syracuse?
No, I didn't. Really? You gotta be shitting me.
No. People on the message board saying, well, we beat Syracuse. You want a cookie? That's exactly the words they said. We're going to get absolutely destroyed by Clemson next week because Pine looks like dog shit. That's literally the words that they said.
I said here within the first 10 minutes of this video, I said, okay, yeah, he was 9 of 19 and threw for what,
120 something yards. He made some good throws. It wasn't like he played like dog water.
But the thing is, you didn't need to live off of the pass. Our running game was, we had over 200 yards rushing. Our run game was on, so you didn't need to live off of the pass that much.
And they're like, well, people think, oh, you're going to have to be able to throw to beat Clemson. Obviously, but you're taking Notre Dame just beat. Well, I'm going to say blew out because it was a blowout. They blew out the number 20 team now in the country on the road at their place in a hostile environment. And you're sitting not congratulating that. You're not celebrating that as a fan. You're saying, "Oh, well, it doesn't fucking matter because we're going to get our ass beaten against Clemson next
See,
week."
and that's too much of what we have in this fan base. We have too much of that, and it needs to change. And that's the thing too. I wish we were not at this point. I wish we weren't 5-3. I wish we were still in contention for the playoffs. I wish that we weren't out of the NY6 pending a bunch of mayhem.
You know what?
But
if Notre Dame beats Clemson and finds a way to beat USC, they have the number one strength of schedule in the country.
You think you think a 9-3 at this point could get us in there to an orange?
It'd be tough. It would be tough. We'd need a few teams to lose. But I don't think it's impossible because think about it. LSU is a 2-loss team, and they're number 10 in the country, whether or not they should be there or not.
Yeah. But, that's the thing, too. The Rose and the Sugar, I mean, obviously they have their bowl tie-ins. And the Peach and the Fiesta are the semis this year.
The thing that helps Notre Dame, though, I will say this. The teams what's that bowl game that it has an ACC tie-in? It's the best. Is it the Orange Bowl that has the ACC or Notre Dame tie-in?
Yeah, the Orange Bowl is ACC versus, I thought, Big 10, Big 12, or Notre Dame.
Okay. I was going to say that.
SEC, I mean, SEC.
I was going to say that because there is one. I don't even think. I think it might be the Cotton Bowl, actually, where it's the best ACC team or Notre Dame, depending on record-wise.
No, that's the Orange
or ranking-wise. Oh, okay.
See, now it changes. It all depends on it all depends on which bowl games are the
New Year or the playoffs.
Which are the playoffs. And then the what you call it's just accordingly.
But the thing that I was going to say, the thing that helps Notre Dame right now is the fact that Wake Forest, North Carolina State, and Syracuse all have 2 losses, and Notre Dame has the head-to-head against Syracuse and North Carolina. So let's just say, let's say Notre Dame wins out. They're 9-3. Say Wake Forest and NC State drop a game. So they'll be 9-3. They'll most likely either be on the fringe of the top 25 or out. North Carolina will probably win out pending a collapse and play Clemson in the ACC title. I'd probably take Clemson in that game just because North Carolina's defense is god-awful. But so that puts North Carolina at 2 losses. I would hope at that point the committee would say, hey, Notre Dame beat North Carolina handily on the road, head-to-head. Give Notre Dame the edge there. In that scenario, Notre Dame would get that bowl tie-in over North Carolina, Wake, and NC State.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. And the only other option is the Cotton Bowl, at least this year, which the Cotton Bowl is usually at-large versus at-large, but really what it is at-large versus the highest-ranked Group of 5 team.
I just think that if you look at Notre Dame's schedule and the fact that they have the number 1 strength of schedule in college football this year, you got to give them some credit. I understand they lost to Stanford and Marshall, but not many teams are going to go up against Ohio State, Clemson, USC, a ranked North Carolina with the number 2 offense in the country, and a Syracuse team that's got one of the top 10 defenses in the country, and go 4-1. Not many teams are going to do that.
No. But it just, what it's always been, though, is, in my opinion, even going back to the BCS days, it's a matter of when you win during the year and when you lose during the year. So that plays a factor into it, too. And I'd like to think if we finish the season 9-3 that there's like an outside chance. But honestly,
probably not.
I'm not getting my hopes up for it, but I would like to think that there would be a chance. But
let's just say win the games first. Win the games first, and we'll worry about it.
Yes. And also, this is the one thing that I was going to say earlier that I completely forgot is in regards to just being a fan. and not worrying about like, oh, the spread or making money off your ticket. Why can't you stick with the team even when they're losing or when things aren't going so hot?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't understand. Why can't you just be a fan whether they're winning or
See,
losing?
and you can be a fan and be, like, you can have like, hey, like, I admit I was wrong. I took Syracuse last week. You know what? I admit I'm wrong. I should have took Notre Dame, but at the time, I just thought that Syracuse was a good team. Am I not a real fan because I didn't take Notre Dame? No. I'm just not being I wasn't trying to be biased about it. I
Right.
was just coming at it from but like you can say like, oh, like on the show today, we did our pick'ems. I wanted to take Notre Dame, and funny enough, Cam, Lucas, and Connor, all three of them took Notre Dame, and I was the only one that took Clemson. And it's not because I don't think Notre Dame can win the game. I'm hoping they win the game. I'm a fan. I'm going to root for them, and I'm going to watch them. And it's not going to be like, oh, well, Notre Dame's going to lose, so why should I watch the game? No, it's none of that. It's just, I just think Clemson's a good team. I think Notre Dame's a good team. It has nothing to do with that. But
And I'm just the kind of fan who I can't pick against my team. I wouldn't feel right doing that.
no, I understand that. Like I understand that. I when we do a pick'em show, I like to be unbiased. Like, well, I'm secretly like, yeah, I want Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to win. Like that's in my mind. Like, oh yeah, Notre Dame's going to beat Clemson. But when I'm doing like a pick'ems thing and it's like a professional
Right.
type thing, I like to be unbiased because in sports media, most of the time you don't see that from Desmond Howard, who always takes Michigan anytime he gets. But
Right.
nevertheless, like I don't know, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I do. Exactly. I know what you're talking about. Everyone has their own perspective on that. And, so I don't hold that against you. But, anyway, so I thought about, posting the link here in the live chat, see if anybody wants to come on and comment, but we'll see on that. We only got 17 minutes left, but we'll go ahead and start answering some questions here. So we'll go. Let me scroll all the way back up to the top here.
Also, really quick, I did want to mention
Yeah,
big
go ahead.
notice for everyone here: Peyton Bowen and his brother visiting this week for the Clemson game. So,
Oh, and I know. Jerome Bettis's kid was visiting too, and
yep.
somebody else.
Oh, Bryant Young's kid is going to be there. Bryce Young.
That's right. Yes, that's what I
Yep.
was trying to think
He's
of.
I believe he's the number 11 edge in his class and the number 103 player overall. Good, talented kid. So, and
Yeah, no,
he's only got two offers, which is kind of weird. Notre Dame and Duke.
yeah, that's crazy. So we'll get started with the comments here. Golden Playbook says, "I hope we upset Clemson. I don't want to get my hopes up, but sure hope." Oh, of course. I think we all do. I think the Syracuse game was great. They did what they needed to do. I saw a lot of great things. It was great to see. I just hope they are consistent against Clemson. Yes, I agree.
Well, the thing is, Notre Dame is consistently consistent against good teams.
And then this was one I saw earlier, but we were on a roll. Hey, Sean, can I ask you a question? Then Reggie asks, how big of a game does the defense need to have? I think they are the biggest reason they win this game. They're going to have a big game.
Mm-hmm.
We
Shipley. Got to figure out where he's at.
Will Shipley. And then also, I know this was a couple of years ago, but think back to DJ Uyunglele when he was making his first career start against us. I know he'd seen some playing time before then, but he made his first start against us in South Bend, which I'm waiting to see if that's relevant.
We made him look like the Messiah. Let's just say that.
He threw for like 450 yards.
500 yards.
He did
Over
throw
500 yards, yes, and 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, it was insane. And people are like, "Oh, well, Trevor Lawrence didn't play. He didn't do this guy didn't play." He did better than what Trevor Lawrence would have done. He was equivalent to Trevor Lawrence at that time. So yeah, with DJ alone, the defense is going to need to really step up and
DJ has kind of really fallen off. There's a bit of a quarterback controversy right now with Clemson. So I don't know if he's exactly the same kid He's definitely talented, and he showed spurts of it. But Clemson's OC actually kind of talked about it this week during his press conference. They asked him about the game, and you never really hear coaches say this too much, like because he kind of gave away the game plan. But he said, "This game is going to be a slugfest. Whoever runs the ball is going to win this game. That's just flat out what's going to. Whoever can run the ball is going to win."
Well, and if if rain plays a factor, which I hear we're going to have quite a bit in South Bend, you may have
ball security.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want Estime out there now here and he's saying it's going to rain.
Right. Oh my.
No, I'm joking, but
so in other words, the defense has to have a big game, regardless of the elements, regardless of what kind of DJ you get. Whether it's like you said earlier, Ryan, the DJ that balls out or the DJ that gets benched for a freshman, it doesn't matter. You got to shut him down.
And I feel like you got to have if DJ starts, say Notre Dame gets out to a 10-0 lead, and DJ throws 2 INTs early, you got to be that defense. You got to be ready for if that freshman comes in. You have to. You got to watch all the tape you can, because you can't have a situation where it did against Syracuse, where you had that game won, and a backup quarterback comes in and starts lighting you up offensively.
Yeah, that, and you still have Will Shipley to worry about.
Yeah.
And I could comment on the receivers, but if you take the quarterback out of it, you kind of take the receivers out of it too.
Mm-hmm. Next, I like to see Brandon Joseph get another pick this game.
Oh, I'd love it. I hope Audric plays more. I think he learned from his mistakes. He's realizing that he made mistakes, will not do it again. The coach has got to trust him. I agree.
I don't want to. I'm gonna hold on. Let me knock on wood before I say this. I feel like he's fixed his fumbling issues. Again, I'm gonna knock just so I don't.
I hope so. Robert Walker, a longtime viewer of ours and one guy who I've met in person, good dude. My Halloween, I was sitting on the toilet most of the night because I had a colonoscopy the next day.
Oh, God.
I'd like to think this is a joke, but he could be telling the truth.
Trick or treat, man.
But then he goes.
You should ask him if he had left a little DQ swirl at the top.
Ooh, man. I'm eating supper after this. I don't want to spoil my appetite. Come on now. And now I have to imagine Bob Walker taking a shit on the toilet, and heaven help us, for the love of God. But he then goes on to say what we were talking about. Irish D needs to stop Shipley running the ball. Yes, that is a big factor as well.
Funny enough, Shipley came out this week. I don't know if you've seen the video, but he said that they were asking him, so did Notre Dame recruit you pretty heavily? He goes, yeah, a little bit. He goes, nah, I'm joking. He goes, yeah, they recruited me pretty hard. They were honestly my second school behind Clemson. That hurts that we could have had Will Shipley.
Ooh.
That really hurts.
But we still get some good guys in.
Yeah, we got some good guys.
Yeah, we already answered this stuff. Which fan base will show up? We had a whole discussion about that. Reggie says Clemson travels well, from what I've heard. All right, well, you will find out on Saturday if that's the case. Walter says there's no excuse for us to sell tickets to opposing fans. The university needs to start cracking down on it and loudly shame the sellout fans as hard as they can. Let them know they're a disgrace to ND. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, again, all the excuses that I hear from some of our fans of why they do it, and even with the product that we're getting on the field right now that's not exactly up to par, it's like I said before, why can't you just be a fan and not worry about making a freaking profit? And like I said, with the family members that I have that are gamblers, they have a problem and they're freaking compulsive gamblers, so get some help. This stuff drives me crazy. I could go on a freaking rant just about that alone. But I will say this, and this is not a joke. The people that sell their tickets, especially the alumni who do it, which that's where a lot of it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are the cheese and wine crowd that tell people to sit down and be quiet, and the ones that are in the stadium, and all these naysayers and the complainers, I This is not a joke. I genuinely hate these people.
Sean, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm sure you would say the same thing. If I'm paying my good hard-earned money to go to a Notre Dame game, I don't care if they're playing Cupcake State or they're playing #1 Alabama. You're not gonna fucking tell me to sit the fuck down. I paid my money to be here. And if you want me to sit the fuck down, you can go leave. That's what I would say.
My buddy Jerry from Ireland, he flew all the way over for a game. He's been there a couple times, actually. This one lady actually did that to him, patted him and said, "Sir, could you sit down? We're trying to watch the game." And he's like, "Lady, are you out of your mind? We're here to make noise and cheer for our team. And if you can't do that, then that's your problem, not mine." Great. If you knew him, oh, it was hilarious.
Oh, he sounds like a blast.
It was hilarious, but he was right. I mean, really, this cheese and wine crowd that goes into the stadium, they need to get the hell out.
Yeah.
So going,
you say you turn around, Sean. You say you stand the fuck up.
Well, you know what? Ben and I are going to be at the Boston College game, and if somebody does that to me, I will use those exact words. And I don't even care if they have a kid with them. I have been pushed to the limits with this bullshit. And I'm eventually going to start telling these people off face to face. I don't care if they're freaking jacked. I don't care if they're in better shape than I am.
Be careful, Sean. We don't want another incident like the Michigan State brawl.
I had a feeling you were going to bring that up eventually.
Yeah.
But going right along.
You want to call that a scuffle? Or was that a scuffle, Sean, or what was that?
I think that was just a beat down.
It was aggravated assault or battery.
Yeah, somebody should have been put in jail for that.
Well, I guess 4 players are getting charged with aggravated assault. So,
well, did they do
it? They used their helmet, and so I think it's assault with a deadly weapon because they were swinging their helmet.
Did they do it in the name of Coolio? Yo, man, memory for Coolio. Coolio just passed away. We got to honor him.
Oh man!
Now, how about the fact you just got your asses beat and you're pissed off about it? But I've said it before, I hate Michigan State more than I do Michigan, believe that or not. Anyway, moving right along. Sean Case doesn't like the name. I have the same spelling, my man. I wanted to tell you that earlier. I was at the Stanford game, and it didn't feel like a home. It was my first Irish game, too. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. Very, very quiet, in my opinion.
You know what's weird, though? When Notre Dame was terrible, like the latter Charlie Weiss days, I was at the Syracuse game that we lost. Which was not a good memory. And then I was at that Washington game when I can't remember what year that was. I believe it was Jimmy Clausen.
2007?
I think it was the year we lost to South Florida.
That was 2000. That was 2000.
Was it 09?
That was 2011? Yeah, that was 2011, and Dane Christ was the starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Boston was gone.
But I was at the Washington game, whatever year it was, and it was like pouring down rain.
Oh, that was Clausen, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I was at that game. That one, oh my God, we sucked that year, and that the crowd was insane. Even the Syracuse game that we lost, which was terrible. I think Syracuse was had 2 wins that year.
Yeah,
and it was in a blizzard. The crowd was still insane in a blizzard. The last few I went to, so I went to the NC State game. That was a ranked matchup in 2017. That one was pretty good. That one was a lot like the sellout, and there were quite a few NC State fans. But that was still a really good environment. And then I went to, oh God, was it what game was it? I believe it was the Wake Forest game at home. And that one was kind of But most of the games I have went to, it's been fun. But I've never went to a big top 4 showdown. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get my ticket to one of them too. Walter says, well, to be fair, if the team actually showed up and stopped effing around with bad teams, the stadium could be louder. Yeah. That's a good point. Fans need to quit selling their tickets. I can understand with the type of season that we're having, but why give well, actually, I answered this already. We covered that. The university needs to make fans sign contracts, make them stop selling their tickets to opposing fans against their will. Good luck getting them to do that. I don't know how you could enforce it. Sean says, I never thought I'd say this, but we need to be more like. Well, I think I covered that one already too. Our stadium needs to be more electric. I understand that it's quiet because of the season we're having. There's nothing to cheer about, but we need more energy in the stadium. It seems to be too quiet. Well, like I said, it all goes. All these comments, I'll just say it's the cheese and wine crowd. Even when we've been winning, these people still sell their tickets. They still sit down.
Did you hear how quiet it was against UNLV?
Yeah.
When we had the 2 blocked punts. If I was at that game and I seen 2 blocked punts, I'd be going nuts.
I just don't understand our fans. I don't get it. I don't know what their problem is because it doesn't matter. I've said this before. Even if we were winning, people would still be complaining. People would still be selling their tickets. It's a cultural thing. Yep. I think that's what it is. It's a cultural thing. And I think a big part of it is you start by, hey, if you don't like cheering and loud noise, get out of the stadium. Mm-hmm. I think if our stadium needs more energy, maybe that can help. Well, I've said that many times before. That's home field advantage on a silver platter. I'm sorry, not the wrong terminology. That is home field advantage is perfect definition. That's the idea of home field advantage for your crowd to make it tough on the other players. There wasn't more Stanford fans, but they were louder than the Irish fans. That's even more sad. There was a chance I was okay. COVID. Man, Walter, what's with all the F-bombs? Then again, I can't say anything. Ryan, you've been dropping them too.
Yeah. You gave me the green light a couple shows ago, Sean.
Yes, I did.
You let the floodgates open.
This is a fan show, not a family show. There was a chance I was going to be at the Clemson game, and I got, okay, that sucks, dude. I think that we need more energy. I think that our fan base is too quiet compared to Georgia's fan base. And yeah, you know why? Because those people don't sell their tickets. They actually give a shit about their team. And it's funny. My brother told me one time we were talking about this, and he doesn't care, sadly to say. He's like, well, maybe down south, they take their football a little too serious. Yeah, they should. I'm not saying kill somebody over football or anything like that, but those people give a damn about their team. They make it a ruckus environment. They're loud. They yell. They scream. The way I see it, only way to make the stadium louder is perhaps get rid of the seats.
No, build a dome. That's what you do. Build a dome.
Oh, Notre Dame would never do that. They would never.
You don't want like a stadium like what the concept, the new Bears stadium looks like.
That team needs a dome. I will say that. I'd pay $5,000 if I can go and not watch them lose. Yeah, I believe the product on the field. John from Always Irish said this, and it's true. The product on the field has its own responsibilities as well. Yeah. No seats means fans stand and focus on the game. Yeah.
Well, if I'm trying to drink my beer and eat my popcorn, what am I gonna stand and drink and eat? I'm joking.
Yeah, Walter says he's hanging with Freeman. Coaches are humans, not robots. Craig says if we were slotted 25,000 tickets for a major bowl game, 20,000 would sell their tickets for the bowl game. Okay, yeah, they would. But we got to focus on ourselves at home first before any bowl games. Golden Playbook says, I have faith in Marcus Freeman. Still, I don't think he's the problem. I think it's been Tommy Rees all along. Tommy isn't preparing his offense good enough. Marcus Freeman needs to step up. Yes, he has responsibility. Mm-hmm. If things aren't working, he has to get on his assistants. And I know it's sometimes not always easy to do, but it's a little something called accountability. Bob Walker says, I'm on board with Coach Freeman and most of his staff. Irish started the season with their quarterbacks having no starts. That's why this season Irish need to get Angeli playing time. Well, the thing is,
I wouldn't do that now. It's not like the season's down the drain.
No. it's not down the drain. Plus, the quarterback room isn't huge, especially with Buckner's injury.
You got Ron Powlus as the third string quarterback. So
Yeah, I mean, his dad was a great quarterback.
his son,
Haven't seen enough of him
yeah,
to know. That's one thing I will say about Freeman. He needs to get better at going up to the coaches and telling them that what they're doing wrong, and also the players. He just stands there with a mad face. Again, it all goes back to accountability. And does Marcus need to change things? Yeah, probably show some more
what
emotion.
do you want BK all over again, where he's getting all purple and stuff? Like,
Yeah, he yelled too, and people did nothing but make fun of that.
yeah, I feel like Freeman is. I feel like he could be a little harsher, but I feel like people don't notice it that his players actually tend to respond very well after they make a mistake and he talks to them. Think about that Cal game with Pine. Guess what? Freeman yelled at him. Tommy Reese said, "Do your fucking job." Guess what Pine did? He went out there and he did his fucking job.
Exactly.
So there's levels to it. And I think if we had guys making mistakes, say Audric Estime's fumbling the ball, and Freeman doesn't say nothing to him and says, "Oh, you're okay, buddy," pat him on the back, and then he goes out there and fumbles again, and nothing changes, then I could say that's an issue. But I don't feel like it's an issue, really, to be honest.
No, not yet. Not yet. I think he's.
I feel like he knows which players, which buttons to push with which players. If that
Yes,
makes sense.
exactly. Honestly, I don't know if Freeman does, which I assume this is talking about if he's the guy. I hope so. I want nothing more than to have Notre Dame win a national championship and get these damn Iowa fans off.
What do Iowa fans have to cheer about? They have Putrid Petrus as their quarterback.
Yeah, I grew up around a bunch of Iowa fans since I'm like 18 miles away from the border. So, and two of the people that I hated the most were Iowa fans. So, Iowa fans, anyone who says shit about us from Iowa, take a look in your own backyard.
They have the
they
worst. They have the worst starting quarterback in all of college football. They literally do.
See, they are. People say that like to talk about us screwing up and whatnot. Iowa is so far not with the times; it's ridiculous.
They're the offense they run is back from like the night. I don't even know if it's the 1900s. I'd say probably the 1870s.
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz thinks he can just run. I mean, the funny thing is with Iowa, if they had a mediocre quarterback at best, they could do some damage.
Hey, you know what? Petrus, if you want a quarterback, now I'm going to say that I'm going to do like an ad, like an NIL sponsorship. If you want a quarterback that can hand the ball off better than anybody else, go get you Spencer Petrus. That's what you go. There you go. You go on a guy that can hand the ball off. He's the best at it.
Yeah. anybody can hand the ball off, no problem.
Me and Sean can hand the ball off.
Yeah.
Me and actually Sean, I'm not even joking, man. We should go hit up Iowa football and say, "You guys want a quarterback that can hand the ball off? Because I can do it. I got 4 years of eligibility."
Yeah, I know. I could say some things right now, but I deeply regret it. Sean K 2007 says, "Well, if we didn't lose to Stanford and Marshall, we don't question Freeman, but I do question those losses." Yeah, I question them too. I don't get what was going on. Not if you ask them. Playbook says, "I think Freeman will be the next Lou Holtz because of the way he's recruiting the other coaches after Lou Holtz never cared about recruiting. So in my eyes, Freeman is recruiting at a high he's a high like Lou Holtz. I think I'm speaking that right." And Freeman is the first coach in a long time since Lou Holtz that's recruiting at a high level. He's working hard, and I think Freeman is the guy to get us to another national championship. I hope so. Bob says, "I've been an Irish fan since 1962 and have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Give Coach Freeman time to implement his plan for this team." Yes, I agree. I think every head coach needs 3 years minimum.
You know, it's weird because, like, we lost to Marshall and Stanford, and those losses sucked. But it's weird because, like, it didn't feel like those are the worst losses I've seen as a Notre Dame fan. if that makes sense. It feels like I've seen worse losses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Marshall was pretty bad, but I mean, what, Tulsa,
Tulsa was bad.
Navy,
South Florida was bad.
Georgia Tech,
Um,
when we got blown out by Georgia Tech, it was at like 38-0 at home.
Yeah, but that was 2007. That team was just complete rebuild.
Yeah.
Complete rebuild. I hope CJ Carr doesn't decommit. I hope he stays because he's the future of Notre Dame 5-star quarterback. This will be the first elite quarterback since Joe Montana in Miami.
He's not even a 5-star anymore. He plummeted to the number 12 quarterback in his class in the rankings.
That's unfortunate. It is hard to be an Irish fan. It is hard to control your emotions, not when they lose, but losing to a bad team you had no business losing to. But I never called for Freeman's head. Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I can handle losses, but there are games in mind you can't. I agree. I mean, believe me, it was tough to sleep those nights after losing to Marshall and Stanford. I was so freaking pissed. It's like, how do you let that happen? How do you pull that off? Golden Playbook. I think Freeman is the guy. We can't judge him. This is his first season.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest were comments from when we were talking about earlier about the ACC bowl game, which was the Orange Bowl. Bob says Irish are 3-1 against ranked teams when they played them. I think it's the Pineapple Bowl. Ryan and Sean. You know what? I should I'm going to show you that poster I made, Ryan. I know you haven't seen any of these, but hang on 1 second here. Which we'll get to that one of these weeks where you give your opinions on the bowl names that have corporate only names in them.
Okay.
If I can find the damn thing, where'd it go? Here we go. We had to put the teams in for when Ben and I did a bowl pick'em show, but that's one I made.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Doesn't that look more, honestly, not because it's me and you've become accustomed with me, but doesn't that look a lot better than just the Cheez-It Bowl?
Oh yeah, I like that a lot better.
When you have an actual name for the bowl game, the Pineapple Bowl, and it's in Orlando, a tropical area, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, a lot better.
But anyway, back to the comments here. And I don't know if we'll be able to get to all the comments, guys, because we're a little over here. Shit. Hide current comment.
We're at Sean K. What I can't understand is we run all over them and couldn't move the ball against Marshall and Stanford. I just don't understand the inconsistency.
We don't
I don't either.
Craig Sebring said the Gator Bowl. Yeah, I've seen a lot of bowl predictions right now have the Gator and the Holiday. How awesome would it be if LSU plays Notre Dame? Yeah, I'd love to.
Notre Dame is undefeated again in bowl games that are not the New Year's Six against LSU.
Yep. I think Freeman will be an elite coach. He just needs to be hard on the players. He's got to be consistent with that. The more hard on them you are, the more motivation they will have to play. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all these comments. I apologize. Craig says I saw it will be in the 40s and rainy. Yeah, I saw that too. I think we need to beat an elite team. It will take time, but Marcus Freeman is working with Brian Kelly's players, so I agree with Ryan. The players are used to doing it the Brian Kelly way. Sean says, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I don't know if Marcus Freeman is the guy for Notre Dame, but I'd never sell my ticket to another fan for profit. Good. I'm glad. I'm really glad for any fan that is that. It was true, guys. My colonoscopy came back and I was okay. Great, Bob. I thought you were making a joke, but I didn't know you really had one. I'm glad you're okay. I was at the Marshall and Stanford games from John Monty, another longtime viewer. If they gave us something to cheer for, you would hear the noise. again, it goes back to the product and the field having accountability. I agree. My father and grandfather going. I'm way late this week. It's okay. Notre Dame 2164. You're fine. You can go back. You can always go back and watch this. But we're glad to see you here for a brief minute.
Let's make Will Shipley, I believe, wish we were his first pick.
I like that. Bob says, I think the Irish ticket holders sell their tickets when they believe the Irish will lose. Those fans have no faith in this team. That's sad. Yeah, and it's pathetic too. And they all need to go F themselves. Fans need to quit whining. They need to leave if they don't like it. They need to go watch another team if they don't care about the team. Yeah, it's all across on all the Facebook groups and message boards that these people just complain. I was in Seattle to watch Charlie Weis' team beat the Huskies. There were many Irish fans at that game and made it feel like an Irish home game. Well, I wish we could do that here at home. I'm sorry, but what Michigan State did to that Michigan player was disgraceful. The Michigan State players should be suspended for that. That's not cool. That made me hate Michigan State. I already did, so I didn't have to have another reason to hate them.
I've hated them. I've actually hated them more than Michigan ever since the planting of the flag in Notre Dame Stadium. That actually rubs me. And I know it's like it's a sport. It's like it's a sportsmanship thing. I don't want to sound like I'm an old man bitching about it because it's like a new age thing. We've seen Baker Mayfield do it, but I don't know. I just think that's disrespectful to like take your flag and plant it into another team's field. I know it's a rivalry, but I don't know. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Am I a Dolphins fan? No, I am a Bears fan. Ben is the Dolphins fan. Craig says, people tell me I take my sports too seriously. I tell them that is because I love my teams. Yes, there you go. Guy I've never seen before, Fred Laskowski. Get an ass-kicking team on defense and offense that plays electric football, and that stadium will be loud. Well, the thing is, they should be loud from the start to actually help out. But I can understand if, again, going back to the product on the field, I get it. If they're playing bad, then you're not going to hear a lot of noise. You're going to feel beat.
But we're playing Clemson. This isn't like we're playing Stanford or UNLV or Marshall. Those fans don't need to be waiting until Notre Dame scores a touchdown to be cheering this Saturday. They need to be cheering before the ball gets kicked off, as the ball is getting kicked off, and the rest of the game.
Let's see, where was it? I saw another comment from that Fred guy that I thought was really good. Here it is. When BK failed to kick a field goal, I was there. I'm sorry you were, Fred. Yeah, that was the biggest one of the biggest blunders I've ever seen. Why are you throwing the ball when all you need is a field goal to win the game? It's stupid. Yeah, and Sean says, kind of relating to what he said already, his record isn't in question. The teams he lost to is. Yeah, I think we all agree there. Bob says, great show. I've had a blast listening to you, Sean and Ryan, and reading the comments. Great show, guys.
If you like listening to me, you should go listen to the Week Zero podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Everybody watching right now, I know you're probably tired. 7:21 at night in Illinois right now, at least. But like I said, I just did a show. Me and the Week Zero podcast boys just did a show with former Notre Dame running back Cam McDaniel. So like I said, go check it out. Look up Week Zero Productions on YouTube. Go tune in and watch it. Trust me, it's going to be the best hour and a half, 2 hour show you'll ever watch. So go make sure you tune into that. Go ahead and give it a sub, like, and comment.
Which is why I have it in the ticker below, scrolling across the screen. Bob says, I've hated Michigan State since the 10-10 tie in 65. Yeah, I think everybody has. No problem. You guys are great. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Sean. I've never seen you before on here. I don't believe so. So welcome aboard and thank you for the support. I don't know. I'm the opposite. I hate Michigan more because of what they did to Newt Rockney's grave. I heard they pissed on his grave for Michigan fans.
Okay. That's not funny, but
No.
that's not funny. I don't know what.
Let's see here. The thing is, oh yeah, that's right. Reggie's right. It was 66.
What?
The Michigan Notre Dame, the Michigan State Notre Dame 10-10 tie. That was
Oh yeah, wasn't that like people said it was like one of the game of the centuries or something like that?
because it was number 1 versus number 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 66. Duh. I should know that because
So
I was born 20 years later.
so Sean, I gotta get going pretty soon, but
Yeah.
real quick before we get off, do you want to kind of get? I didn't really get to see your entire video, so you want to kind of give me your prediction? I'll give you mine, and
I'm trying. I can't remember, but I think I said it was a 1 score. I think I said 28-24 Notre Dame.
okay,
I'll have to go back and watch it. I forgot my prediction too, but it was a 1 score game. I had it as a 1 score victory for Notre Dame.
okay.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
So Cam, we had him on the show today. His pick and prediction was Notre Dame 33, Clemson 27. So a 6-point victory for Notre Dame. I went 31-28 Clemson. I think it's a close game till the end. I think Clemson wins on a last second field goal. But I'm also, you know what, Sean? I'm also kind of picking Clemson because I hope it kind of works out. That the last 2 weeks I took Syracuse, Notre Dame won. I took Clemson, Notre Dame won. I'm hoping.
A superstition type
Hey,
thing.
yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Like, what is it? Reverse psychology. Reverse psychology. There we go.
Yes. Okay, you're fine with losing. I get it. Hey, no, we're not fine with it. We're going to go out and win. I'm going to keep watching. You are my kind of guys. No BS. Well, Fred, thank you. We appreciate it. And yeah, Ryan here is the co-host for this week for this every Thursday show because Ben works nights, so he's not able to be here. But Ben and I usually do our previews and recaps on the weekends and all other videos. So yeah, no, it's Ben and myself who are the 2 Irish brothers. People like Ryan, very strong colleagues. Same with our other friends, George and Lisa, who have made occasional appearances. That's nothing against you, Ryan. I hope you don't take it that way.
No, I could be the 2 Irish brothers, but only on Thursday. I'm the Thursday 2 Irish brother. There we go.
Well, like you said, you, George, and Lisa, we definitely consider you guys colleagues for the show. That are the ones that are there to help us out when one of us is hamstringed and can't be there.
But like I said, I just want to hit this hard really, really quick. If you guys like what me and Sean do, Sean's watched our show. He can attest to it. Am I right, Sean? They would love the stuff we talk about. Like, if you like Sean has no filter. I have no filter. None of us over on the Week Zero podcast have a filter either. So, like I said, make sure you go over to Week Zero Productions, give a sub, like, and comment. And like we said, we do our shows every Thursday now at 3 p.m. Central Time. So right before you come over and you see me and Sean shoot the shit, talk about Notre Dame football, come over and say hi, man. I really do. I seen Notre Dame fan. I can't remember the last 4 of it, or the numbers in his name, but he stopped in a few times. Walter was there today.
Oh yeah,
other people were there today. Yep.
Yeah, Irish 2-1. I forget the numbers too. 2164 Notre Dame 2164. Yep. Yeah, all you guys, both shows respectively. We appreciate the support, and those of you who are regulars here, make sure to go become regulars at Ryan's show too at Week Zero Productions.
And I do want to take a second, really, Sean. I want to give a shout out to you, man. Thanks for letting me come on here and do this every Thursday. Can't say it enough. huge thank you to you and Ben and everything you do for us over at Week Zero Productions. It's been helping us a lot. We're starting to get closer and closer to our goal, our next goal, 100 subs. So really, thank you, man. Appreciate
It's
it.
not a problem. I mean, we try. I mean, we can't make guarantees, you know that, but
Oh,
the
I
best
know.
we
I
can do is,
know.
and that's the thing. If you guys haven't subbed to our channel yet, make sure you do so.
Oh, we
Go
have. Yep.
subscribe to. No. I'm talking to the
Oh, okay.
audience. I know
Okay.
you guys have. Yeah, just if you all of you guys watch, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to subscribe here and subscribe to Week Zero Productions. And like Ben and I have said, we've reached the 500 subscriber mark, so prize giveaways are coming. We just have to put together the new logo, and that might take some time. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but the prize giveaway will happen for sure at some point in time. So with that said, I think we've talked about all we've needed to talk about. And so on that note, everyone, I am ND Sean 45.
And I am Ryan, Week Zero Productions Fravel.
And as we always say on the recorded videos, we're going to say it the same way on the live shows. Good night. God bless. And go Irish.
Irish.
Beat Clemson.
Beat Clemson.